When Rudy Schlattner and his family fled Czechoslovakia after the Second World War, they left behind everything they had. Now in his 80s, Rudy recently returned to his home country for the first time since the war. The first thing Rudy wanted to do for his homecoming was visit his childhood house. After numerous renovations and refurbishments, it was now being used as a school for kindergarteners. But Rudy wasn't there for the memories. More than anything, he wanted to find something he believed his father left behind, a cache of valuable items supposedly hidden somewhere in the house. What he did uncover upon his return was remarkable, to say the least. This house is the childhood home of a native Czechoslovakian named Rudy Schlattner. The beautiful abode is the same one he fled from with his family following World War II when German nationals were forced out of Czechoslovakia. Now that he'd reached his 80s, Rudy wanted to return to see the house that his father had built for their family so many years ago. But he wasn't just there for the nostalgia factor. More importantly, he had a very good reason to believe there was a hidden treasure in the house. Apparently, Rudy's father had left behind a cache of valuable items. Wanting to see if this was true, and to find out what the treasure contained, Rudy began to search. That's when, while looking in the attic, he found a loose board with a strange string attached that no one had noticed until then. Even after having numerous renovations, no one had ever seen this odd loose board before. And boy, was Rudy's intuition right. Behind that inconspicuous board was a secret compartment full of family items that Rudy's father had hidden away in the event that they ever returned to Czechoslovakia. Even though the area behind the board was a relatively small space, it was packed full of items. It took hours to clear everything out of the secret room. Below, you can see all of the contents of the room that Rudy found when he lifted the board. Rudy smartly contacted appraisers to come and review the items that he'd recovered. Representatives from a museum in the nearby town of Ústí nad Labem arrived at the home and began to date and catalog all of the items. As wonderful as the discovery was for Rudy to make, it was also an undeniable treasure trove of World War II-era memorabilia in and of itself. Rudy couldn't believe that those incredible items had been hiding there all of those years. Rudy made it clear that the monetary value of the items was never the driving force behind his desire to unearth them. In fact, many of those items didn't appear valuable, but they did offer a rare glimpse into life during the 1940s. "We were surprised that so many ordinary things were hidden there in the attic," said museum employee Tomaso Cura in an interview. "Thanks to these circumstances, these recovered objects have a very high historical value." Technically, the objects were considered the property of the Czech government, but Rudy wasn't too concerned. Even if he wasn't allowed to take all of his family's possessions back home, he was just happy to have closure and to know that his suspicions were always true. If you thought what Rudy found in the attic of his childhood home was cool, you're definitely going to want to see what the Lopez family found in their grandfather's attic after years of hearing his outlandish and unbelievable stories. After the Lopez family patriarch passed away, the surviving family members decided to investigate all of his stories. Their grandfather used to claim that he had located the treasure of José Gaspard, a notorious Spanish pirate, many years ago. As much as the Lopez children enjoyed the story, they didn't believe that it held much weight. So the children, now grown adults, decided to look into the fables that their grandfather used to tell them and search his attic for this supposed pirate treasure. It wasn't long before they discovered something that stopped them in their tracks. In addition to a crude map of Tampa Bay, Florida, from the 1930s, they also unearthed several Portuguese and Spanish coins which proved to be from the 1700s. But that wasn't all. Find out what item really shocked the family in the story here.